Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back. And welcome to another Sunday morning edition. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Back with another one. You guys know the deal, man. And in this live, we're going to talk about a couple of things that we touched on in the live on on Friday, and a couple other things that I just heard this morning. So we're going to touch on some comments I heard, and a little bit of everything on a Sunday morning. So again, man, good morning to all you guys, or good evening, good afternoon, I guess, whatever it is, where you're from. Once again, man, I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the state. You guys know that, and you guys know what's about in this channel, man, right? You guys know it's about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. Once again, man, goodness gracious, guys. Another good morning out here, man. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos, these lives are for educational purposes. They know. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, man, once again, good morning to everybody out there. Shout out to my man, Terrace Potts. Shout out to Renee for coming through. As always, good morning to all you guys. Shout out to Anthony Sanchez. Yo, shout out to you, Anthony Sanchez, a true supporter. Thank you very much. Good morning. Bernard Kemp, what up? Let's roll. My man Bernard Kemp always here. Ant Weston, shout out to you. Good morning. Thank you very much. Laney Music. You guys know we about to do it. Shout out to my man PMR Midrange, a.k.a. McZuggins, up in here. Thank you very much. And again, for coming through. And like I said, so holding it down on Friday night with me and my man AOH and the Real Side Beers. Shout out to Jolly Johnson for coming through, as always, man. Much respect to you guys, man. Like I said, it's truly humbling. You guys continue to come through. Shout out to my man Marcus Smiley, 1600 for coming through. Thank you very much. I got the facts always. Thank you very much. Shout out to my man Howard Hollis, true supporter, always coming through, man, and supporting. Heath Overledger, shout out to you. Salute. Vanita Shaw's, what's up? You know we about to get down, man. Like I said, I mean, some funny comments I heard today out here from Patrick Beverly on James Harden and Dwayne Wade. I want to talk about that. Shout out to Dana Green. Good morning to you. AP 530. What's up, yo? Man, listen, man. Good morning. Shout out to you guys, man. It's cold as heck up in here this morning, man. Up where I'm at, man. I don't know about you guys. You guys see, I got all kinds of stuff on, man. My garage is freezing right now, man. I didn't have the heater on or nothing, man. It's freezing up in here. Shout out to Lionel Jones for coming through. Yo, King, shout out to you. Newman, shout out to you guys. Good morning, man. Let's roll. Davion, thank you very much to all you guys. Like I said, man, it's truly humbling for you guys to always come through and support, man. Especially, like I said, coming through on a morning, on a Sunday. A lot of people got things to do on Sundays, and, they don't get up on Sundays that early. And, like I said, man, so I appreciate you guys coming through, spending some time with me. For real, man. It means a lot. So, like I told you guys, man, I got some things, some comments I want to talk about. The first thing that I wanted to touch on is, I guess, go back to, and I don't want to beat it, too much into the ground here. Again, good morning to all you guys for coming through, man. It means a lot. Yo, yeah, I always got the Dominic Wilkins hoodie on. You guys know, man, I ain't got a lot of clothes like that. I ain't no fashion aficionado, you know what I'm saying? So I wear a lot of the same hoodies over and over again, and I have favorite sweaters that I like to wear. So you guys know the Dominic Wilkins. Shout out to Roots of Fight, where I got this hoodie from. I've had this hoodie for maybe I want to say maybe 6 years now. So somewhere around there. I got this one, the Ken Griffey Jr. Joint. So again, shout out to you guys, man. But I'm not much for style. I probably spend more money on workout gear and workout clothes than I do, actually, clothes to go out and, do things, because I never go out. I ain't going nowhere. Shout out to my man David Young Sr. Good morning. Yes, sir. I was just drinking some tea right now before I came on here. My wife is a coffee drinker. Every morning she has to have her coffee. So shout out to anybody out there drinks coffee, anybody that drinks tea. That's what I got going on this morning. Yeah, for real. Shout out to you guys, man. You know the deal. Yeah, Ken Griffey Jr. That was like probably my favorite baseball player. I told you, after Dal Strawberry, when I was growing up, young, my dad used to call me the straw man. And like I said, and then when Ken Griffey Jr. came into baseball, man, that was it for me. That was my guy, man. I love Ken Griffey Jr. I told you I had 3 sports that I played growing up through high school: basketball, football, and baseball. I played all three of those sports, guys. And I told you guys all the time, football was Emmitt Smith. That was my guy in football. That was the guy I wanted to be like. I told you I wore his number, everything. I was putting number 22 on my gloves. I put number 22 on my cleats, everything. I was all about Emmitt Smith. I had Emmitt Smith posters on my wall. And you guys know, obviously, basketball is Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? I had the Michael Jordan posters, you know what I'm saying? Always about Michael Jordan, talking about Michael Jordan when I was young. And in baseball, man, it was Ken Griffey Jr. And that was my guy as far as like my favorite player throughout the 90s, man. Oh, man, I love Ken Griffey Jr. It's just overall demeanor, his personality, his charisma, his swag. Obviously, he had the game to go along, but he just had the total package. Ken Griffey Jr. If he didn't have some of those injuries towards, that later part of his career, the numbers that he would have put up would have been astronomical. I mean, when you talk about, like I said, his overall game, Duke could do it all, man. So shout out to Ken Griffey Jr. And just the overall swag of Ken Griffey, man. So once again, man, shout out to you guys for coming through, like I said, this morning. Yeah, I know a lot of us, like I said, we were lucky, guys. How many times have we talked about it on here, right? How fortunate we were. And we don't, like I said, we're grown, we're grown men, a lot of us now, grown-ups. And you look back on that stuff, and now they tell us it's nostalgia. We're emotional. We feel a certain way about these guys because we were young when we were watching them. No, I look back on that now, and I'm like, damn, I can't believe how fortunate I was to not only witness great athletes and great players, like we know where they all, fall historically in a lot of these different sports, even sports that I'm not that familiar with, like hockey, you know what I'm saying, and soccer, and some of these other sports. But when you think about all the kinds of personalities that we witnessed, and how a lot of those guys, they weren't perfect, but a lot of those guys, and most of them, they were true professionals. That's what I remember about a lot of them. They were pros. So, like I said, when we talk about showing up to work, that's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum for professional. So, like I said, we were very lucky and fortunate that we got to witness a lot of those people. When we talk about Michael Jordan a lot on this channel, right, and a lot of, basketball channels, we talk about Michael Jordan, right? But when you think about the overall landscape of the athlete, it was crazy, man. It really was. And that's kind of what will put Michael Jordan in, I think, a more proper context. Because when you think about some of the great players that, said that we win, look at the names you guys are dropping in the chat there. So once again, shout out to all you guys out there that continue to, like I said, help the live shows and continue to further this stuff by adding to the live streams and all this stuff with the names you guys are putting out there. These guys that we witnessed, a lot of those great players, they were in awe of Michael Jordan. I remember one time a clip of Bruce Smith, and we all know how great Bruce Smith is in the NFL, history, right? One of the great players. I remember him in a clip meeting. He was talking with Michael Jordan. They were walking in a hallway somewhere. I can't remember where they were. I think it was at a Bulls game, and Michael Jordan was coming into the arena, and Bruce Smith was there, in attendance to watch the Bulls game. And Bruce Smith was in awe of Michael Jordan. Right? He was trying to get a pair of Michael Jordan shoes, and, he wanted Michael Jordan to sign the shoes and, stuff like that. And, just crazy stuff when you think about it, which makes me think about the interaction between Michael Jordan and Ken Griffey Jr. You guys remember the interaction between Michael Jordan and Ken Griffey Jr. when Michael Jordan was playing baseball, and Michael Jordan went to Ken Griffey Jr. and asked him for an autograph. Michael Jordan asking Ken Griffey Jr. for an autograph. Think about that. That's what Ken Griffey Jr. was like, man. That's where he was at. The dude was sensational. Like I said, it wasn't just that. It's straight up like everything else about Ken Griffey Jr. that made him have people gravitate to him like that. You think about the great guys that we saw. Think about guys like Tony Gwynn. We mentioned him. I put a post up. Just some of these great. You had guys that could do all kinds of things. Great hitters, fielders, pitching. I remember growing up and everyone talking about Nolan Ryan. And Nolan Ryan was like a baseball card. You always wanted to try to get a Nolan Ryan baseball card. Nolan Ryan paid forever. You know what I'm saying? Nolan Ryan was old when I was young, and he played till I was old. You know what I'm saying? That dude played for ever, Nolan Ryan. But you remember so many great players. I put the picture of Ozzie Smith. I remember Ozzie Smith. This dude was sensational. You guys had put Ricky Henderson in there. Think about Ricky Henderson, man. In the things you saw Ricky Henderson do on the baseball field, right? And think about what he did as a leadoff hitter. I remember guys like Wade Boggs. These guys were hit machines. hit machines. I remember Roger Clemens, right? When young Roger Clemens, man, like we all know, Roger Clemens has been, his name has been, sullied, over the last, couple of decades now. But when I was young growing up, man, Roger Clemens, man, are you kidding me? Roger Clemens. I mean, just some of the great players that we watched out there, play the game and like I said, play it the right way. And that's why the game was pushed forward. What's funny about the whole, Mark McGuire and the Jose Canseco and the Sammy Sosa stuff and the Barry Bonds stuff, like people talk about that now and they try to drag some of them guys down. And I get all that. But if you think about that time, that actually pushed the game forward. The game was exciting, man. Like, dudes was rocking home runs. Like, I mean, you had excitement around Major League Baseball. So whatever people want to say, you can't deny that brought excitement to the game, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I said, I get it. I get all of that. But, the MLB was hype. It was hype in the 90s. Hype, y'all. It was crazy, man. Like I said, you had the personalities to go with it. I mean, like I said, look at the names you guys have mentioned here, man. Just insane stuff. Insane stuff. We talked about Cal Ripken Jr., the Iron Man of Major League Baseball. I watched that dude. I got to watch Cal Ripken go out there and do those things. I remember him and Eddie Murray all the time. Him and Eddie Murray. Like, I mean, it's like I feel like them dudes played forever. A lot of these guys, like I said, they were there, man. So again, shout out to all you guys, man, that, remember those times, man. Yo, Cameron MCOC, shout out to you guys, man. Callie Young, what's good? Like I said, man, Afro Abe, what's going on, man? Good morning to all you guys. I know I'm rambling on right now a little bit, but you guys are with me because I see you guys putting the names in there. These guys were true professionals. Like, these guys made you feel good about what you were watching. They made you feel good about the sport. I used to love baseball. Love it. I haven't watched it like that in a long, long time. And I'm not saying that baseball is garbage. I think baseball is actually coming back right now. But as far as like, me watching it like I used to watch it, like I said, I got more interested in football and basketball kind of took over for me. But I remember, like I said, growing up playing this stuff and what those guys, meant to me because, like I said, they've always represented the game. And they made the game fun to watch. And we always, like I said, appreciated and, and had the respect. That's why I tell you guys now, like, we owe a lot of those. I mean, they're not really doing to Major League Baseball like what they do to the basketball great players. I think we all understand this, but we owe it to a lot of those guys because I told you they showed up and they actually went out there and competed. They were professionals. So again, they're not perfect, and we never said that they were, right? These are human beings just like me and you. And this is never personal because I don't know those guys personally. I'm giving you what I watched them do when I was a kid, or like I said, as a grown man now, what I'm seeing people do out here. I can only tell you what I see. I can only give you what I know these people for and my opinions of them for that. So whatever these guys put in the public view, right, whatever they put out there on the football field or the baseball diamond or the basketball court or the hockey ice, whatever it is, that's all we have to judge these guys off of, right? Like I said, those guys, man, earned my respect more often than not, man. All right, were there guys that I didn't really respect how they played the game or how they went about it? Absolutely. We all had guys out there that we didn't really like, we didn't respect and represent or how they were. Absolutely. But most of those guys I told you were true professionals, man. And that's why I said we feel the way we feel about them now because they went out there and were true pros, man. And they were out there to compete. And I said they pushed up the game. They pushed the game forward. So I think a lot of those guys, when you think about some of the guys that you guys were mentioning out there, some of those guys, I mean, like, you could argue were the greatest at what they did. Like I talked about with Ricky Henderson. Like, was there a greater base runner? You can argue there was not. Was there a greater leadoff man? You can argue there was not. So again, when you talk about what he could do, we talked about Ken Griffey Jr. at his peak, in his prime. You can argue he's greatest baseball player of all time. Ken Griffey Jr. I don't give a damn what anybody say. That dude could do everything, man. I watched Barry Bonds go out there. Yo, Barry Bonds was crazy, guys. Barry Bonds, I tell people all the time, Barry Bonds had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He's like Kobe Bryant of baseball, Barry Bonds. Except Kobe Bryant ain't got those suspicions around. I'm not trying to put Kobe Bryant in a level like that, but if you talk about Barry Bonds, the man had 2 Hall of Fame careers. All right, if you want to talk about post-suspicion and pre-suspicion Barry Bonds, either way, that dude was insane. Insane. Like, Barry Bonds wasn't like some average player, and then they're like, oh, he started juicing, and all of a sudden he was good and nice. Oh, but man, that dude was ridiculous. Absolutely insane. All right, so again, when you watch what these guys could do, I mean, you guys mentioned Bo Jackson in there. I mean, come on, are we really going to sit here and, remember Bo Jackson? I mean, I remember Bo Jackson, just the video game Tecmo Bowl. Bo Jackson was unstoppable. Probably the most unstoppable character in a sports game outside of Michael Vick in the Madden. Remember that Madden? I can't remember what Madden was that Michael Vick was on. Michael Vick was crazy in that Madden. Yo, Michael Vick and that, if you were playing, I used to play Madden in like tournaments. I used to play in like, with my boys and all those guys stuff. If you were going to get somebody that had Michael Vick, that was playing with Michael Vick, yo, you was in trouble, man. You couldn't stop that dude in the video game. And the crazy thing is that was Michael Vick in real life. All right, so again, you guys remember Michael Vick when he had that, remember that Michael Vick Experience commercial? That might be one of the greatest commercials for a player that I've ever seen. And the reason why it's one of the greatest commercials I've ever seen is because when you think about that commercial, that's who Michael Vick was on the field. He was actually doing this stuff. He was the man was out there just, doing things that were crazy. But back to Bo Jackson, like I said, when you talk about what these guys could do on the field, and Bo Jackson and Tecmo Bowl, and he would be, remember the guys would bounce off of him? They would bounce off Bo Jackson. They try to dive it. They bounce off of him. You guys know what I'm talking about if you played that game. You just think about a lot of those guys. Like I said, it just you guys are dropping so many names. Shout out to all you guys, man, for real. Gino Panzine. Once again, thank you for you guys for coming by. Dave Stewart, Dennis Eckersley. Deion Sanders. They said these are crazy names of guys that played, these sports, man. Like I said, we were very lucky. I remember Vince Coleman, right? Vince Coleman didn't get as much shine, probably because, Ricky Henderson. So it's like, and Vince Coleman was crazy. I remember guys like Ryan Sandberg, who I think just recently passed away not that long ago. I saw you guys drop out Andre Dawson. But you remember Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg? They were great. Dave Winfield was a great athlete that played Major League Baseball. He could have played a bunch of sports. Dave Winfield probably could have played anything he wanted to, Dave Winfield. Make it rain out there, Dave Winfield. So shout out to you guys, man. Somewhat Aussie, shout out to you, man, from Perth, Australia. Thank you very much. Once again, man, a lot of you guys from different countries, man, coming through. I don't know what time it is where you guys are. I really appreciate it, you guys coming through. And this is what we're talking about, man. Like I said, Frank Thomas, shout out to my man, he's over ledger, right? We talked about the big hurt. I put the picture with him and Kirby Puckett, right? And they said a lot of these guys that we remember, because like I said, they were true professionals, right? So you respected them. That made them memorable. Like I said, a lot of these guys' personalities, you remember their personalities maybe, right? Their attitudes toward the game, their competitiveness, right? So maybe that was your favorite team and you were lucky to watch that guy every single day. You got to, turn the TV on and watch those guys. I remember watching a lot of those, Yankees teams in the 90s, man, right into the early 2000s. Right, with the Derek Jeters and the Bernie Williams and the Tino Martinez's, right, and these guys coming through and having big moments, right, in big time spots, right, coming through and having these hits. You got to witness a lot of these things, man. Like you think about the 90s overall, right? You had some of the Yankee stuff going on in the 90s. You had a lot of these, Atlanta Braves teams, right? And then you also had in the NFL, you had the Dallas Cowboys dynasty in that 90s era. The Bulls obviously in the 90s. You just had a lot of great things going on in all the sports. And everything was almost like a heightened, heightened sense. It was crazy. Like I said, when you think about all the guys, my gosh, man, like that could just be one show, just one live show, just talking about all these different players in different sports. Because I don't know hockey that well, but I don't know how hockey was during the 90s. Was hockey up like that in the 90s? I'm not sure, man. I know Wayne Gretzky. That's what I do know. But again, like I said, it's just crazy when you think about that. So many guys, man. So many players. It was just ridiculous. When you, like I said, when you think about, like I said, the time, man. So, what's funny about that, and I told you guys, I wanted to talk about some comments today, man. And again, good morning to all you guys. Like I said, I really appreciate you guys for coming through. Again, yeah, man, I don't know. Is there any Canadians in the house? Any hardcore Canadians that want to speak on hockey in the 90s? I see a lot of you guys saying hockey was ridiculous in the 90s, bench brawls. So yeah, again, like I said, it's crazy when you think about some of this stuff. I always remembered seeing those fights on ESPN, and I always was thinking hockey was crazy to me. But I was like, damn, I always thought it was they allow this stuff because I remember playing baseball. And there were always scenarios in baseball where you didn't know if you were going to get hit with a pitch, right? You're sitting there getting ready to, taking that bat, and you don't know if the guy's going to pitch you inside, or I was left-handed. So I remember a lot of times when I was out there, going against some of these guys, man, and you're going against, a left-handed pitcher, let's say, for example, and they would throw like a curveball to you. I remember standing there on the plate thinking they're throwing the ball right at me. The ball looks like it's coming right at me. And then that joint would curve in. I remember like the first couple of curveballs I ever saw in my life. Guys, I've never seen nothing like that in my life. Yo, this is crazy. And I told you, that's when I realized that the only way I was going to be effective at baseball at that point now is I was going to have to just try to, like I said, hit the ball on the ground and leg them joints out and use my speed to get on base. Because, man, when these dudes started coming out with different pitches, like it was all fun and dandy when I was in Little League and everyone's basically just throwing fastballs at you. You know what I'm saying? You're just trying to hit everything. But once I started getting to certain levels and dudes was changing thing up and they were doing different arm angles and their ball was moving on you, all of a sudden I was like, yo, this is crazy. It's crazy. You went from bat like 800 to bat like 100. You miss everything. You freeze up. You standing there and the ball is like gonna hit you in the face and that ball would curve right in the kid glove and you standing there looking like a fool. You know how many times I was like that, guys, when I was in high school? Like, and the goal go right in the glove, and you standing there, your knees, like just, like you don't know what to do. So again, like, when I tell you guys, and I'm talking to you guys about sports, right? And again, shout out to you guys out there jumping out these the hockey players, man. Again, like I said, we're putting respect on a lot of these guys, man. Like I said, it feels good to put respect on these dudes that did this stuff because that's where we get it from. You see them doing this, so this is where you get it from. Right? Like this is the stuff that we're talking about out there. Like I'm always telling you guys what. And again, once again, I said, thank you for you guys for coming through. I'm always saying I'm giving you guys my perspective, right? That's all I'm giving you here. I'm not lying to you. I'm not giving you like a false narrative or a feeling that I get. I'm giving you that feeling from, like I said, my experiences, my perspective of my experience. So what I'm telling you is I played a lot of these sports. I played this stuff. I never say, oh, you guys weren't even good at sports. Do you ever hear me say, oh, those guys weren't even good? No, I said they never even played. You never played. It ain't about being good at a sport. We're all not going to be good. Once again, I wasn't good at baseball like that to be out there. I didn't know what to do with them pitches, man. So again, I'm giving you an experience and my perspective of some of these sports because I played this stuff. I'm not talking about being good at a sport. It's about playing it because you gain a certain perspective and an appreciation for these sports. And again, when you're watching this stuff because you're playing it, you're into it, then you gain more of a knowledge and an understanding of that sport. But now they say that we don't have that understanding or knowledge because we didn't play professionally. And I've told you guys that is insane. Insane because we hear a lot of these people say crazy things that don't make any sense, man. So again, where is your perspective? They're not giving you that. They're giving you a narrative, guys. That's what you get. That's when the narrative and the lies come up. They're not going to give you the honest opinion based off of the facts or the perspective that they gained from playing in the league. No, they're going to make up some weird scenario here, which leads me right into what I wanted to talk about initially in this live. Because again, I was shouting out. I want to shout out my man Paul over at the basketball show who came through the live show the other day. Shout out to Drink Blood drummer for coming through, man. Exactly. That's what we all out there to compete, right? We all out there to compete. And that's why I love about sports. That's what I told you. That's what life is about. Life is about competition, man, right? It's competing with yourself, right? I tell you guys all the time about keeping moving and fighting against the laziness, right? Don't let the laziness, catch up to you. Keep fighting against that and inspiring and motivating your family members, the people you work with, whatever the case may be, the others around you. That's what it's about. You're competing with yourself to be better, to raise everyone else around you. I'm competing with my children so they can be better, man. If I'm not competing with myself to raise myself up, if I let myself go, if I become lazy, if I don't give a damn like that, I don't prioritize the right things, then all of a sudden everything else around you, I told you, is a domino effect. Everything falls apart, man. Falls apart. If you ain't taking care of yourself, then how the hell are you going to lift everybody else up? It's like that example, when you talk about, on an airplane scenario, right? You guys have all heard the airplane scenario, right? You're on an airplane and the masks come down for oxygen. They tell you to put your mask on first before you help someone else. And why is that? Because you're no good to anybody if you're dead, if you're jacked up. So if you are capable to do that, then you put your mask on and then you assist the other people. That's what you're supposed to do. So again, taking care of yourself, prioritizing the things that are supposed to be prioritized. your health, once again, your family, your friends, like I said, the people around you, the values and principles that you hold yourself to, those should be very important to you. That should be very important to you. So again, this is what's going to help you inspire the people around you and lift up everyone else. So what I want to talk about, shout out to my man, NBA Sports News for coming through. Bryce, is he going to the Final Four for real? I didn't even realize that. I'm not really into college basketball too much. I've told you guys this many times. I've never been into college basketball. Not because it's not hype or not good. I just never got into it. I told you I was always a college football person. I always liked college football, but I never got into the college basketball. Every once in a while, I might do like a bracket or something for fun. I remember some years ago, I used to get into those things for fun, but I didn't realize that he's on Arizona. Is he on Arizona, Bryce James? And I know Arizona's a good program. So once again, that's pretty funny though. Yo, love them skins. What's good, man? So what I was gonna say was, people talking crazy. Like I said, I wanted to shout out to my man Paul from the basketball show because I was listening to a video that he did. I think it was yesterday, maybe. And again, I said, shout out to him for coming through the live show on Friday night. And in the chat, he was down in the chat. But he did a video, in response to Isaiah Thomas' comments about Michael Jordan and the Kevin Durant stuff, right? And the winning the 6 championships, if you just put Kevin Durant on the team. And what he talked about in the video was if you put Michael Jordan, he did his own scenario, right? And he said, if you put Michael Jordan on the Miami Heat, like if you want to play that game, then let's put Michael Jordan on the Miami Heat for those 4 trips to the finals. That LeBron James was there on the Heat. Let's put Michael Jordan there instead. Take LeBron James off, and let's talk about that scenario. Let's talk about what that would look like. And he talked about it in a video. And again, I really appreciate that guy's work and the way he, his opinions and the way he breaks stuff down. And I agree with everything he said in the video. And what I thought about, because while I'm listening to the video, is I actually went and listened more in depth to what Isaiah Thomas actually really said about these, or about this scenario of this what if, right? And I thought it was pretty actually disturbing what he actually said, because it's actually worse than I thought what Isaiah Thomas was saying. It wasn't just necessarily about putting Kevin Durant on the Bulls and it being that simple. He actually tried to explain this. He actually did. And I don't want to talk too much or too long about it because I want to talk about the Patrick Beverly comments. But we have to go a little bit on this for a second here, okay, guys? So bear with me on this real quick, because like I said, when I was listening to my man over on the basketball show break down his video and break down these comments, they were actually more disturbing than I originally thought, all right? Because when you think about where Isaiah Thomas or what he used to say about Michael Jordan, this is what I'm talking about, the contradictory nature. And when I tell you, just because someone played in the league, I'm nowhere close to Isaiah Thomas. I've never been that. Never will be. All right? This is not about me being better at basketball than Isaiah Thomas, because that's how I know the game more, or me, being able to understand the game more than Isaiah Thomas. It's not about that. What I'm telling you is I'm giving you the fact. I don't have an agenda here. There's no narrative. This is not just my opinion. When Isaiah Thomas is giving you a statement like this, you can clearly tell that this is his own agenda, and that's how it's driven. It's driven off his own personal feelings. There's no one that can think and look at this logically and think about breaking it down, but he tries to. And that's what to me is disturbing about this. So he says this. He talks about how many shots Kevin Durant doesn't take in his career, right? And he says and equates it to how many shots Michael Jordan was allowed to take. And he's saying, well, Kevin Durant never took 25, 30 shots a game. So you give Kevin Durant 25, 30 shots a night, then he's going to be able to duplicate what Michael Jordan was doing. That is one of the dumbest things I heard in my life. Why is that dumb? Not because Kevin Durant can't shoot, not because Kevin Durant can't score, but because Kevin Durant can't take 25, 30 shots a night. He can't do that. He's never done that. He would never do that because of why? His mindset. We talked about the mentality of Kevin. He ain't got the same mentality as Michael Jordan. So again, Isaiah Thomas is making a stretch by trying to equate Michael Jordan's shot volume. Oh, give Kevin Durant that volume, and he's going to do the same things. Oh, no, Isaiah Thomas. And you should know that. That's not how it works. Just because you give Kevin Durant 25 more shots or a certain amount of more shots, right, or you allow him to take a certain amount of shots, doesn't mean he's going to have the same effect or impact is what Michael Jordan was doing. Because again, it's not about Michael Jordan taking a lot of these shots. Why was Michael Jordan taking so many shots? Why did he have to take 25 shots a night? He had to do this. Who else is shooting? Who else is going to score on that team? Everyone passed the ball back to Michael Jordan. They ran an offense. Didn't I not? When they were winning, they ran an offense. So again, you sacrificed these shots so the team could be more effective. But Michael Jordan had to be a historical scorer for the Bulls to win championships. Kevin Durant could never be a historical scorer and lead a team to a championship. He's never done it. He wasn't historical on the Golden State Warriors. They're like, oh yeah, he had a great NBA Finals in 2017. Exactly. Playing against who? A guy who wouldn't guard him, right? And playing alongside another MVP caliber player in his absolute peak. That's laughable. Oh, Kevin Durant was great, man, when he was playing against another all-time great. Who's greater than him? So I'm supposed to celebrate his numbers. The numbers he put up against nobody. Nobody. Where were those numbers all the other seasons before and after? Nowhere. So where's the evidence of this, Isaiah Thomas? Where's the evidence of him being able to take 25, 30 shots like Michael Jordan and be effective? There's no evidence he's ever done it because he can't do it. He cannot do it. There's no way you can explain it. So again, it doesn't make any sense when Isaiah Thomas says, I told you, you're not educating the people out here. It doesn't make any sense. All right? And again, when you talk about what Isaiah Thomas said, I listened to this entire thing. He never mentioned defense once. I don't get this. How are you educating people, Isaiah Thomas? Again, we don't have to go too crazy with this and keep going for a miss. But my God, dude, are you kidding me? We're not going to mention defense through the entire thing here. We're just going to talk that all Michael Jordan did was score. So again, we're relegating Michael Jordan down to a score. You're not educating anyone, Isaiah Thomas. You're not telling the facts. You're not telling the facts. I don't care if you played in the league. I don't care if you're an all-time great. That's you as a basketball player. You as an analyst, you as a broadcaster, you as a TV personality, trash. Trash, trash, trash. All you do is come with your own opinions and narratives as far as it goes with Michael Jordan. Anytime you mention Michael Jordan, you make yourself look like a fool here. A fool. Okay? I want everyone to understand something here. All right? Remember, and this is how we're going to end it. We're going to end it on this. All right? Michael Jordan, during that time, when Isaiah Thomas was reading off all the guys that he played with, Isaiah Thomas mentioned Tony Kukoc, Dennis Rodman, right? He mentioned, obviously, Scottie Pippen, right? He mentioned all these guys. He mentioned B.J. Armstrong and John Paxson. He mentioned all these other guys he mentioned. And he said, oh, you know, Kevin Durant, you give him all these guys, then he's going to win. What Isaiah Thomas is never going to realize and never going to tell you, which I told you, which is a fatal flaw for a lot of these people out here, is they talk about the Bulls as if Michael Jordan was there all these years, and then they got a whole team built in one season, and the Bulls won all those championships. That's how they describe it. Scottie Pippen got there, Horace Grant, Tony Kukoc, all those seasons, they just got those guys, and they just started winning. That Michael Jordan wasn't an integral part in this. That first three-peat, he didn't build those guys up. Again, we're going to talk about Pippen as Scottie Pippen with Kevin Durant. Where's that coming from, Isaiah Thomas? Again, you can't just say, yeah, you give him all those guys, when all of those guys, and especially in the first three-peat, they came along. There was a growth there that can't be denied. Dude, he was going against you. He was trying to go against you guys and earn that ascension, wasn't he? Was he not? And all that time, Michael Jordan never missed a single game against the Detroit Pistons during the bad boy time. Do you guys think that Kevin Durant is going to go play 57 of 57 meetings from 1985 to 1991? Guys, we have to understand something here. The durability, the toughness, the heart, the grit of Michael Jordan, we're not even talking about the game, is way more impressive and way more true than Kevin Durant's ever been. Ever been. Grit, heart, toughness, durability. Do we think, Isaiah Thomas, that Kevin Durant's going to last all of those years building up to a championship by 91? So again, I went and looked at all of the games that Michael Jordan faced the Detroit Pistons from 1985, his rookie season, to 1991 when they won their first championship and they were able to break through. Okay? In 1985, the Bulls faced the Pistons 6 times. Michael Jordan, obviously, didn't miss a game, was there for all 6 of those times. All 6. All right? Didn't skip a game, didn't load manage. 85. Right? Maybe they're not the bad boy Pistons yet, right? Okay, the next season we know Michael Jordan had the foot injury, but he played 1 game against the Detroit Pistons in 86, and they won that game, actually. I think it was the 3rd or 4th game of the season. Beat the Detroit Pistons, 1 game that season. Okay. 1987. 1987 season. They played the Pistons 6 more times in the regular season. He played in all 6 games, right? Against the Detroit Pistons, 1986. Never ducked them out, didn't hide from Isaiah Thomas. None of this stuff, man. Showed up every night against that team. 6 times in a regular season. That's how many times they played because they were in the same division. 1988. 6 times again he played the Detroit Pistons. He was there for all 6 in 1988. Didn't miss a single one. Now, all by the way, in 1988, he also played 5 games against them in the playoffs. Didn't miss any one of those games in the playoffs. Once again, getting beat down by the Detroit Pistons all season long and then playing them again in the playoffs. 1989, right? They're implementing the Jordan rules, right? They understand, what Michael Jordan could do. Faced him 6 times in the regular season. They beat the Bulls all 6 times, and Michael Jordan played all 6 times. Didn't duck out, didn't hide out, didn't miss the game, didn't fake an injury. None of this stuff. He was there. And then faced him 6 more times in the postseason and didn't duck out. Once again, 1990, faced him again 5 times this season. Didn't miss a single game against the bad boy Pistons again. 5 times again. The playoffs again. A 7-game series. Didn't miss a single game. So 5 in the regular season, 7 in the playoffs, the bad boy Pistons. And then in 1991 again, 5 games against the bad boy Pistons, 5 games that Michael Jordan played, and in the playoffs, 4 more games against the Pistons in a 4-game sweep. For a combined total of 57 games against the Pistons, the bad boy version, some of those years are not, against Isaiah Thomas, didn't miss a single game. Didn't hide from them, didn't duck out from them, never was like, yo, these guys are going to hurt me out there. I got to sit out one of these games, man. Yo, don't play me on this one. Let me sit this one out. Never once. You think Kevin Durant's making it through all of that? That's just to win his first championship. That was just to win the first title. Not to mention all the games after against the New York Knicks. All those beatings, you're going to take. Is Kevin Durant going to survive that? Come on, guys. There's no evidence he would. No evidence he would. So, what are we doing, Isaiah Thomas? What are we doing here? Come on, man. There's nothing you can point to. And he's trying to break this down and explain it. You sound crazy, dude. You sound insane here. I remember a quote. I wrote a quote down from Bill Laimbeer. Bill Laimbeer quote about Scottie Pippen. We didn't think about Pippen. It was Jordan and the Jordanaires. That's a quote from Bill Laimbeer in the 90s. In the 90s. So again, now they want to tell you, oh, Scottie Pippen, he didn't win until Pippen got there. Yeah, we get all of that on paper. On paper. But that's not the story. That's not actually how it happened, how it went down. And that wasn't the feeling from you guys. You guys knew you had to stop Jordan. The Jordan rules, not the Jordan teammates rules, not the Pippen rules, the other guy rules. It was the Jordan rules. You had rules for nobody else. You had Larry Bird rules. You had Magic Johnson rules. You didn't have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar rules. Now, everybody's, oh, we had to face Kareem and we beat Magic and Bird. But why do y'all have rules for them? Well, they're great players. Where were the rules for them dudes do? Remember, the key here is Michael Jordan was different. Different than them dudes. They're great, but Jordan was different, man. And that's why you had a different set of rules for him. Because he was doing things that Bird couldn't do, that Magic couldn't do, that Kareem couldn't do, that even Dr. J couldn't do. So that's why they were playing the style they were playing. That was the only way they could be effective. That's the only way, man, was to tear this man down physically. Think about that. They had to physically beat him. And you know what's funny about all of that? The funniest thing about all that now is that you hear them say, we were trying to hurt Michael Jordan. And now they'll say, oh, Jordan cried to the NBA because they were winning. You hear what they said? They were trying to hurt Michael Jordan. That was their aim. That was their focus. So why would Michael Jordan, who obviously knows this by the way they're playing, the dirty shots, guys, I've watched games, the full games, regular season games against these guys. Guys, after the whistle blows, they're still hitting Michael Jordan. They're still tripping him. They're still pushing him. Go watch Michael Jordan when he plays defense and he's going through screens. Go look at the screens. We talk about moving screens now. Go look at the screens Michael Jordan was dealing with going against the Detroit Pistons, the New York Knicks, the Pacers. Look at those screens he's going through. You think they were like, hey, Mike, what's that? We don't want to hurt Michael Jordan. They were laying into that dude because it was Michael Jordan. Are you kidding me? Insane how people don't even watch this stuff. They don't know. You wasn't witnessing this. Like, people think that Michael Jordan was out there just, yeah, man, living a dream. He earned it. All them guys did. That's how the game was. They beat you up all over the court. They used different tactics and strategies versus great players. Now they act like they only do it against the guys today. The hell out of here. Kevin Durant's not lasting through any of that I just mentioned. He's not making it through that physically or mentally. He don't have the fortitude. He would have joined the Pistons after 89. After 90. Are you kidding me? He would have went and joined Michael Jordan. He would have joined whoever the Jordan was, because he wouldn't have been the Jordan. He would have went and joined the other great player of that era, like Steph Curry. He would have went and joined him. This is laughable stuff. But remember, Isaiah Thomas played in the NBA, guys. He's an all-time legend, Isaiah Thomas. Let's not forget that. So we always put respect on Isaiah Thomas. And listen to the things he says, guys. Listen to what he says. I mean, a child could break this down. Could break how impossible this sounds. Impossible. It sounds impossible. And he also makes it seem as if Kevin Durant never had help. I mean, it's crazy. I don't get it. Like I said, Kevin Durant played a lot of great players in a lot of different scenarios. And he's been able to manipulate these scenarios, right? He's been able to, request a lot of these scenarios. And yet still, you haven't made, the same impact. To me, when you think about Kevin Durant, guys, versus Michael Jordan, there's two words we think about. Kevin Durant, they tell you, is what? Efficient. You know what a Michael Jordan was, guys? Michael Jordan was actually effective. He was effective. Kevin Durant can have that efficiency. That's why he'll never take 25, 30 shots a game, Isaiah Thomas. Goodness gracious. Yo, shout out to my man Mark Book for coming through. Shout out to Hydro. Exactly. All of that they were doing to Michael Jordan, and he was still putting up the numbers. That's why I laugh when they celebrate LeBron James numbers in the losses now. But then they tell you Jordan couldn't win without Pippen. Well, okay, go look at the numbers that he was putting up, without Pippen. And you're going to tell me that, we're not going to blame LeBron James, but we're going to blame Michael Jordan. So again, when we talk about how Michael Jordan held to a higher standard than LeBron James, remember, he's 1-9 without Pippen when LeBron James wasn't even making the playoffs, right? But again, in these playoff losses, this man's averaging 40, right? I mean, he's doing everything he could do, right? But once again, he wasn't doing the right things, and he didn't have the proper necessary development from the other players. That's what it was. It wasn't that he got new guys. Those guys, they developed. I tell you, the scenario they paint you now is that Michael Jordan couldn't win in 85, couldn't win in 86, couldn't win in 87, right? And then all of a sudden in 88, he was like, yo, we got to do something. And Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf and the Bulls organization, they all made all these crazy trades. They got all these free agents, and they got all of these guys. And then all of a sudden, they were great. And it was like, yo, the Bulls got great overnight because they made a bunch of key moves. No, they got some guys here, there. They had guys, and then they developed them guys, right? They brought a piece here, a piece there, right? They didn't bring in primetime guys or ex-stars, retired, or veterans that were like, past their prime, but they were perennial all-stars. No, they brought in role guys. They brought in journeymen. They brought in guys to play roles, and Michael Jordan once again fell in line and was able to lift these guys up and do more with less. That's how it went down. I watched it, guys. That's how it went down. That's how it went down. I'm telling you the facts here. They didn't bring in a bunch of guys and then they won. It's not even close. It wasn't even close. They had to earn it out there. Again, shout out to you guys on a Sunday. Thank you guys for coming through. Now, I thought we could keep going on forever with this. I want to talk about these Dwayne Wade comments. I mean, Patrick Beverly comments. I don't know if you guys heard these comments. I mean, crazy stuff. Yo, shout out to man, Infamous Styles. Mellow S, what up? Dynasties, Hall of Famers. Come on, man. And remember, him and Charles Oakley, they was doing it. Remember, Michael Jordan was mad Charles Oakley left. When they got rid of Charles Oakley, they traded him for Bill Cartwright. Remember, Michael Jordan didn't like that move. So we all understand the value that Bill Cartwright brought because he was a big body, right? He was a veteran, right? He was a big body. But remember, he was all beat up at that time. He moved very slow, Bill Cartwright. He had bad hands, Bill Cartwright. His shot was very slow. So oftentimes, Jordan would hit Bill Cartwright with a pass, or Pippen would give the ball to Cartwright, or Cartwright gets the ball in the swing of the offense, and this man takes forever to rotate that shot up. So he's open for a shot, but by the time he gets it up, he doesn't have a shot anymore. I don't know how many times I saw that. I remember watching those games with my dad so many times, and we laughed at Bill Cartwright, him fumbling the ball around, him stumbling and bumbling out there like an idiot. And again, he was a valuable member to the Bulls. But what could they have done with a Charles Oakley and the development alongside of Michael Jordan? Charles Oakley was a rebounding machine. He was nasty. He was tough. He was an enforcer. And don't get me wrong, Bill Cartwright was also similar in that regard as far as his demeanor and his toughness. But he was nowhere on the level of what, people try to make these guys out to be now. And Jordan was winning with these dudes. All right, I said we used to laugh at this stuff all the time. Oh, Big Butt Bill, we used to call him, because he'd be out there just in that shot. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's not a knock on him. That's the facts, man. That's the damn facts. How many times you saw that pass go to Bill Cartwright and that dude take forever to get that damn shot up over his damn head? Are you kidding me, dude? Come on, man. You a professional basketball player. No one slapped you in the back of your head and was like, yo, man, you can't be in the pros like this. Taking 4 seconds to get a shut up. Goodness gracious, man. It's just crazy stuff, man, when you think about that. J.M. Von Doom, what up? Richard Martino. Shout out to you. That's true. Any of y'all remember that Bill Cartwright stuff? Like I said, there's no knock on them dudes, man. But it was just insane, man. Like I said, if you remember a lot of that stuff, I remember this stuff. I'm not lying. I remember that. Yo, you know what's funny is when you go back and watch stuff, like think about it. When we started this All-Star thing years ago, right? A couple years back, when the whole All-Star thing was becoming a big deal, did a lot of you guys go back and watch old All-Star games? I know I did. And you know why I did? I went back to watch them because I was like, yo, there's no way that they were really trying to tell us that we were misremembering this stuff. Oh, the All-Star game wasn't like that back in the day. What y'all talking about? Those guys were just jogging around too and playing around. And I'm like, nah, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. I said, if you want to talk about the first quarter and them dudes putting on more of a show in the first quarter, absolutely, 100%. That's how NBA All-Star Game was always in my memory. It started off as more of a show than a competition, and then it progressed into more of a competition. But there was always competition there, always. So when you go back and you watch some of them All-Star games, the first thing that jumps off to you is the immediate defensive intensity, and once again the competitiveness from the tip. You're like, yo, this is night and day. And I'm like, I didn't forget it. I knew it. I didn't forget. I remembered it right. Thank you very much. Thank you. On the money. I told you go back and you look at how many times these guys played 82 games or 79 games or 81 games or 80 games. Go back and look at most of the guys that you grew up watching in the 90s. Go back and look at it. Go look. Most of them dudes, how many times them dudes played 82? 81, 79, 78, 77. More often than they were always there. We weren't misremembering this. That's why we remember them. They were there. How are we going to remember them if they're always load managed? How are you going to have those memories of going to a game, right? Or turn the TV on if they wasn't there? You ain't going to have the memories. They're not going to have that moment. So again, you're not going to have the same level of respect. So when we talk about these comments, from Patrick Beverly. If you guys don't know, goodness gracious, man. Again, an ex-NBA player. And you guys know I don't like Patrick Beverly. I don't like him. I do not like Patrick Beverly, all right? I told you I didn't like him as a basketball player. I thought he was a dirt bag. He was a dirty player. I told you I never liked him ever since that cheap, dirty shot on Russell Westbrook's knee that jacked up Russell Westbrook for the playoffs that year. I haven't respected him since, all right? So you guys know exactly how I feel about him off the jump. Yo, shout out to my man Chip Ferguson for coming through. You guys know that. Right, exactly. Exactly, my man, boy Tendio. Shout out to you. The old All-Star games, players got more flashy than their regular season games, but they still wanted to win. Exactly. And remember, the beginning of the game, that's how it was. It started out more of a flashier, more of a show. Because remember, why were they there, guys? And they always understood that. That's why we owe it to them. Because they would say what? We're there for the fans. The All-Star game was always for those guys to put on a show off their skills, show their dunks off, right? Show whatever they can do for the fans. Who you showing off for? Who you showing off for? Who's there? I mean, think about it. Whatever you did, whenever you were, people start watching. People, you put on a show for them, right? You want to show off. You want to show your skills. People start. Who you showing for? If there's no one there, you're showing for the fans. You put a show for the fans. That's why the fans are there. All-Star Weekend was always a show of the players, their talents, their skills for the fans. All of a sudden now, we are the burden now. Now we're the burden. Oh, they want us to play hard now. What's going on here, man? Why can't y'all just shut up and be happy that we're here? What the hell are you talking about, dude? You want to do it during the regular season, man? Man, whatever, man. You fools, man. That's why y'all a bunch of clowns. But damn it, the All-Star game's supposed to be for the fans. They ain't supposed to be about y'all. Ain't nothing about y'all. Y'all supposed to show for the fans. Y'all want more money. Y'all want all these incentives to show up. The hell's wrong with you guys? The hell out of here. That's why you guys have no respect. Insane. Oh, my bad. I seen a couple of supers here. My fault, guys. I didn't even see. Shout out to my man, Keon Hendricks. Good morning, sports and fitness. Happy Sunday. Yeah, shout out to you. Forgive me. I hope you're still in the chat. I didn't see your super. Forgive me. Shout out to my man, Keon Hendrickson, for coming through with the super. Good morning again to all you guys out there coming through on a Sunday. Yeah, I mean, just crazy stuff out here. Yeah, exactly. Jabari Smith. Well, why am I going to play hard? Like, I mean, why? Yeah, you asking me that, then I said, why are you getting paid? Why are you getting paid then? Right? That's a dumb question. Oh, why am I? I'm a professional. No, you're not. If you're asking me questions like that, you're not a professional. This is what I'm saying. This is what we all understand. Those guys that we were mentioned earlier in the live show, they were professionals. I remember a guy named Tim Brown, right? From the Oakland Raiders, right? The LA Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, whatever the hell freaking iteration of the Raiders. They are. The Vegas Raiders now, right? I remember this guy, Tim Brown. Tim Brown wasn't Jerry Rice, right? He didn't have the flash or the, maybe the name of Jerry Rice. But you know what Tim Brown had? Tim Brown had the damn respect. Tim Brown had the game. And Tim Brown was there every single game. That dude was there all the time. That dude had sure hands. Whenever you needed Tim Brown was going to be there for you, man. So Tim Brown earned a level of respect. So he was always mentioned with a lot of the great wide receivers like Jerry Rice, because he was like that, man. He was like that, man. All right? Tim Brown was legit, man. So again, when you think about some of the guys that we mentioned, like I said, it was an honor for me to have watched Tim Brown play the game of football, because Tim Brown was a pro's pro. He was a man's man, right? He was a professional, man. Like I said, and not only was he great, we know he was a great football player, but everything else about him, he played the game the right way, Tim Brown. You know what I'm saying? He never cheat the fans. He ain't cheat himself. He ain't cheat the game. So again, man, like I said, that's why you remember a lot of them dudes, man. I don't get that. I remember Andre Reed, and I was like, yo, how did Andre Reed not get into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot? And I understand, right? The Pro Football Hall of Fame is very hard to get into, right? I understand that, man. But the Pro Football Hall of Fame, to me, is hard to get into, but it's also not hard to get into. It's weird to me. Like, some guys that are in, I'm like, how is this guy in, but this guy's not in? And then I'm like, how did Andre Reed not get in? And like, you think about some of the guys, man. Like, I don't understand this sometimes. I remember watching them dudes. Andre Reed, like, who's Jim Kelly throwing to? You know what I'm saying? Like, you think we know it wasn't just Andre Reed, but damn it, man. Like, I mean, goodness gracious, man. Like, they had a prolific offense. Dudes are catching passes out there. It wasn't just Thurman Thomas. I mean, my God. I don't know, man. Crazy stuff, man. Again, You guys don't do. So I want to read off these comments that or tell you guys about what Patrick Beverly said and read off some of the things that Dwayne Wade said in response to Patrick Beverly. Okay, so again, you guys know, yeah, shout out to Don Beebe, James Lofton. You guys know the deal, man. Like, remember, there's a reason why the Buffalo Bills were in the Super Bowl 4 consecutive years, right? I mean, I mentioned Bruce Smith earlier, right? I didn't even mention Cornelius Bennett, right? I mean, the team was stacked. The team was stacked, man. I mean, some of the teams that they beat to get to those Super Bowls, they beat Joe Montana's Kansas City Chiefs, right? I believe. What year was that? Oh, damn, I can't remember. Maybe you guys remember what year that was. But they beat Joe Montana's Kansas City Chiefs with Marcus Allen and Derek Thomas. Yo, that was a really good team, man. The Bills were crazy. You had the 4 Super Bowls. I mean, they lost to some really powerhouse teams. I mean, them Cowboys teams were legit. Like I said, you think about some of the teams that they lost to, San Francisco. Goodness gracious, man. But when you talk about that Kansas City Chiefs team that they beat, like I said, some of the teams that they beat just to get to the Super Bowl, I mean, they were stacked, man. Don Beebe is like a special teams legend, man. You have guys like Steve Tasker. You have these guys on the team, man. I remember the play against Leon Lett. You guys remember that play against Leon Lett in the snow? When the dude was like sprinting down like 1 billion yards and Leon Lett was celebrating over there, man. We were like, Leon, man. I remember watching that guy. I'm like, yo, dude, what are you doing, man? Stop celebrating early. I hate when guys celebrated early, man. I used to get so mad at that stuff, man. I'm like, damn it, man. Come on, you celebrating early? Come on, man. I mean, like, goodness gracious. That's right, the Giants. That's right, the Bills against the Giants. The field goal against the Giants. I mean, come on, but think about the Giants team. That Giants team is crazy. You're talking about one of the greatest defenses, of all time with some of the guys that were on that defense, man. Come on, man. The Giants were crazy. We talk about their defense, man. And like I said, the kind of quarterback that Phil Simms was, and I said what they could do running the football. That was the Giants, man. Right? You running the rock, right? You running the rock, man, and you play some defense, man. That's what the Giants are always known for, man. Smash mouth football. That's the NFC East. You're talking about the Redskins. You're talking about excuse me. I don't want to disrespect anybody out there. If I said the Redskins, forgive me. All right. I'm used to that. I'm in my 90s mode. So no disrespect to anybody out there. If I offended anybody out there of the Commanders, but you talk about, like I said, the Eagles, man, and like I said, we talked about a team like I said, the Giants, man. The NFC East was just crazy. The Cowboys, back in the day, we talk about the teams that were coming out of there to win, man. So again, man, shout out to you guys, man. Listen. Now, we've talked about Dwayne Wade and James Harden before, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, guys, so you guys just keep rolling with me, right? This is why I say let's roll, because we're going to be rolling, and we was in Major League Baseball, and then we was in the NFL, and you guys know how I go, man. So, again, if I'm all over the place sometimes, forgive me, guys, man. Shout out to my man Aiden Phoenix. He said it's the Redskins. Yeah, like I said, man, you know on this channel, guys, if I offended anybody, forgive me, man. I don't think you should be offended by that. I don't think that's offensive at all. But I get it, man. I understand, right? I said we ain't trying to make nobody upset. We try to keep it about what it's about, man. But it's still crazy to me. Like I said, that's what we went to with a lot of this stuff. I tell you, I don't agree with a lot of these things, man. And I told you I have Native American ancestry in my family. I'm not here to be like, yeah, I got like 5% Native American in my family, man. Like I got black friends, man. So I ain't racist. They ain't nothing like that. But trust me, like I said, I understand the plight of people and all these kinds of things, man. So again, I'm not disrespecting, but a lot of us, like I said, I was in 90s mode right there. So when I said that, because I was in 90s mode, and that's how that's how I remember it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was never a disrespectful association for me growing up. I always thought that logo was badass. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I always thought the logo was badass. I always liked the Redskins logo, man. Once again, I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but I always thought the logo was legit, man. And I never thought of it was like as a negative thing on any of those kinds of people. So for real, man. But anyway, shout out to Randall Cunningham. I saw somebody mention Randall Cunningham. Yo, you guys are like I said, you guys are throwing it back, man, and really hitting out some great names, man. For real, man. The Token Black Guy logo is fine. In my opinion, that logo is legit, man. I said, I don't know if you can show if you wear that now, but I think the logo is legit. So we've talked about James Harden and Dwayne Wade, the dynamic, right? And we've done rankings where I've talked about some of this stuff. Forgive me, Johnson sent a super. KD played with Russ, Harden, and Kyrie 3 of the top 10 players of his era, but he would somehow become the leader of the 90s Bulls. Come on. Exactly, Jolly Jossoms. There's no evidence when Isaiah Thomas makes those claims, right? No evidence of this stuff, that he would be able to do anything with those players that we mentioned, develop them, lead them anywhere when you couldn't ever lead anybody. Never let anybody say this. We have evidence of this. We're not just like, oh, Kevin Durant's not a leader, right? No, we've seen him. He's not a leader. It's not a knock on him. That's the truth. Not everyone is great leaders. Not everyone are good leaders, right? I told you that leadership, there's a skill to leadership. People go to class, training, leadership training. They try to develop and hone these skills, right? People go to seminars and they listen to great leaders, right? Talk about what they did, how they went about, their business or their life, whatever, field that they were great in. This is what it is. That's just the facts, all right? And you oftentimes in life, you need a great leader, right? I mean, think about your household. You have to be a leader of your household, even if you're by yourself. You have to be in charge of your household. So you got to take out your trash. You got to wash your dishes. You got to take care of yourself. You got to care about yourself. It's got to matter. You got to be a leader in your own life. Even if you're by yourself, once you have other people depending on you, that's when it goes to another level. Because not only do you have to worry about yourself, you have to worry about other people. Okay, so again, leadership comes in handy in many, many ways. Not everyone's going to be a great leader. Not everyone has to be a great leader. But you want to develop and have leadership qualities, and it should matter to you. These guys don't seem to ever want to develop the leadership. They're worried about their jump shot. They're worried about developing the crossover, but they're not developing the brain, the mind, as far as getting other grown-ups, other professional athletes, some of these other goofy-ass dudes on the team with you. Get these fools to fall in line. You got to get these fools to fall in line. But it's the only way you can do that, because you have to earn the respect. Everyone goes about it differently. But if they don't respect you and everyday things that you do, remember, people are always watching what you do. So your everyday routines, your habits, people either respect your everyday routines or they look at them and they kind of scrunch themselves, or they think and they question. And once again, maybe they cringe about your everyday routines and the things that you do. Maybe that makes them uncomfortable. So again, think about these kinds of things. Other times, people might look at you, right? And they might be, damn, I got to take that from this guy. Damn, I take this from this person, or take this from this lady. You watch someone do something and you see how successful they are. And you think to yourself, it's a good idea, right? You go to a gym, you see someone doing something, and you're like, damn, that's a good idea. I never thought about doing it that way. Let me try this. Maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't. But they gave you an idea. You thought about something here. Now you applied it, and you test it out, and you change maybe something and see if it does work for you. But you get ideas and you get inspired and motivated by other great players. So once again, shout out to you guys, man. Yeah, you guys, once again, man, you guys are going back. We're reminiscing right now over a lot of these great players. That's right. Yeah, I know, Gino Benzine. That's what happens, man. They worry about the wrong things. That's what I told you. Remember, if you win, you're going to get money. If you're successful, you'll get money. And again, there's certain levels. These guys are always going to get the money, right? They're professional athletes, so the money's going to come. Now, we know there's different levels, commercials, endorsements, and, different players are, greater than others, so you demand more money. But again, when you're holding yourself to them, when you're a great player, you're going to get money, man. But if you become a greater leader, if you work on the intangibles, right, the other things that don't always show up in the box score, that's going to show up in the box score. It's going to show up in the win-loss record, right? That was going to help you get some of the money because you're becoming more of a winner. You're becoming more consistent. But also you have the respect, then you're more marketable. If you're not respectable, if your game is weak, if the way you go about stuff is weak, then people are not really going to, buy your stuff or support you. Like I tell you all the time, who's buying LeBron James gear? I don't see anyone buying his gear. If Barry Sanders had a clothing line, and I don't know if he does or not, I don't really know. I'm into fashion like that. But if Barry Sanders had a clothing line back in the 90s when we were growing up, I guarantee you everyone's going to be rocking Barry Sanders gear. If Emmitt Smith had a clothing line like that, because I had some Emmitt Smith stuff. I had a T-shirt from Reebok, right? I remember Emmitt Smith had a bunch of posters, a Reebok poster of Emmitt Smith. You know what I'm saying? I got Emmitt Smith right down there. So, if they're their own clothing line like these guys do now, their own brands, their own logos and all this stuff, everyone would be rocking that stuff, man. You would be rocking Barry Sanders gear. You'd be rocking the Deion Sanders gear. You'd be rocking the Bo Jackson gear. You was rocking their gear when it was out. But they didn't have brands like these guys do today. But everyone had the Deion Sanders cleats. Everyone had the Bo Jackson Air Raids. Right? Everyone was rocking these guys' stuff, right? But it wasn't as big as it is now. Imagine if these guys, had the platform now, then they had the brands then, right? No, but now, if these guys came out now, I'd buy all that stuff, man. Anything these guys would do. Because once again, you respected them. I just bought a Ken Griffey Jr. t-shirt from Nike. And it was a picture of Ken Griffey Jr. in the field, jumping up, making a play against the wall in the back in the field there. And I haven't worn it yet. It's like a shirt for like the summertime, but I remember seeing this out there and I was like, yo, I got to get this shirt. My wife was like, really? She started laughing at me because I was like a little kid when I saw the shirt. Because I saw Ken Griffey Jr. I thought it was cool as hell. I was like, yo, I got to get the shirt because my man Ken Griffey Jr. That's the connection I have when I see some of these guys. When I see something like that, like, I told you I saw that sweater on the boardwalk, the Michael Jordan sweater you guys see me wear with Michael Jordan holding it up, right? With a cigar in the mouth. I saw that sweater walking on the boardwalk in the beach last year, right? And my son saw a Kobe Bryant one. So we were walking. He was like, yo, look at the Kobe one. And I saw the Jordan one. I was like, yo, I got to get it. I got to get the Jordan sweater, man. Why? Because it's Michael Jordan, man. I told you guys, I was walking on the boardwalk and I saw this poster. I went to a poster store and I saw this poster, right? It was a store that had vintage posters. This is a vintage poster here. And I was in the store and I was looking for anything in particular. And I was walking around. As soon as I saw the poster, I had to get it. I told my wife, I said, hold up. I told my mom, everybody, I said, hold up, y'all. We got to hold up. I got to go in here and get this poster, man. I'm going to buy this poster real quick. I'm in this Dr. J poster. So if I see a LeBron James poster, I ain't going to be like, yo, hold up, everybody. Hold up. I got to go get this LeBron James poster real quick. I'll never have that feeling for a lot of these guys. Kevin Durant, you damn over, yo, hold up. I got to get that Kevin Durant poster real quick. That's crazy, man. Never going to happen. Y'all got to get that LeBron James jersey. I'm going to go rock them LeBron James sneakers. Nah, man, it ain't like that. Again, man, shout out to my man Terrence Ponce for coming through. Society is headed towards idiocracy like the movie. Absolutely. That's right on the money. You're right about it. I told you we getting dumb out here. We getting lazy. I told you no one cares about themselves. I'm sorry, guys. I know I keep talking about, like I was going to say the James Harden, the Dwayne Wade thing, but I don't know if you guys heard. Did you guys hear the comments from Patrick Beverly talking about James Harden was greater and better than Dwayne Wade? I mean, this is like, to me, this, like I said, it's a no-brainer. A no-brainer here. All right? Now, one of the things that was interesting was Dwayne Wade's response to Patrick Beverly. So, when you talk about, when I'm telling you guys, like, yo, these guys play in the league, and I respect them for playing in the NBA, right? I get that. But when you hear them try to explain something or break it down, it like Dwayne Wade said, Patrick Beverly, like, you can't even explain it because there's nothing to explain here, right? And then he started to Dwayne Wade's response to me was a little weird. I didn't really get his response because his response was basically, yo, we're all top 75 players, so we're all the same, basically. And I was like, what? Like, what? He was basically trying to, like, I wrote down something he said here that didn't make any sense to me. And then we'll talk about this. He said, you wasn't better than me. No, excuse me. He goes, everyone in that top 75 is better at something than someone else. But we all in there for a reason. Now, I understand that. And that's true. They're all in there for a reason. But what's the reason they're in there? Like when you say they're all in there for a reason, yeah. But why are you in there? What is the reason? Some guys are in there for a whole laundry list of reasons. Like their resumes are thick as hell. Right, with all kinds of stuff. Some guys' resumes are this short, and they're in the Hall of Fame. Again, some guys deserve to be in there. Some guys don't, and we understand this, right? So his comments to me, Dwayne Wade, are not, adding up. But he's all right about it because there's no way that he should be offended. To me, I think he was offended, and he should be offended. For anyone to think that James Harden is better or greater than Dwayne Wade, guys, however you want to slice it, better, greater, whatever you want to say, James Harden was neither. Never going to be better or greater than Dwayne Wade was. I don't give a damn what anyone says. There's not even close. Patrick Beverly, he couldn't explain it. So Dwayne Wade says you couldn't even explain it or break down your opinion on this. You just said something. So he was offended that Patrick Beverly is not a top 75 player, but you're talking about other top 75 players. Okay? Now, we have to understand something here. I get what Dwayne Wade is saying about that. Oh, you're not a top 75 guy. But let's be real here. Again, the guys in the top 75, a lot of guys. A lot of those guys are nowhere close to the top guys. Nowhere close, guys. Excuse me. Right? Nowhere close to them dudes. So, when you think about that kind of sentence and you're trying to take that kind of stance, like, hey, I'm Dwayne Wade, I'm a top 75 guy. So, I can be mentioned with all the guys that are in the top 75, or all the guys that are in the top 75, even the guy who's ranked number 75, let's say, he could be mentioned, right? And he's just as great as the guy who was number 1, right? Or the guy that was number 5, or the guy that you have number 10. Like, and I understand that the NBA didn't have a ranking on this. They have 75 players, right? But we know that other, entities and, even us as fans, we've looked at the names that they put, right, that they picked. And, we've made our own rankings and our own selections of who you would think maybe the top 10 or top 20 guys are, whatever the case may be. But no one's talking about Dwayne Wade in a top 5 or top 10 scenario. No one's talking about James Harden in a top 5 or top 10 scenario. So if they're in a top 75, I get that. But that does not make all of you guys on a quote-unquote level or even playing field, because you're all, great players and you're there for a reason. Like I said, it doesn't make any sense in that regard. Now, the main thing that we have to focus on here is not Dwayne Wade's comments, because Dwayne Wade's a weird dude. We know Dwayne Wade's weird as hell, man. Like I told you, Dwayne Wade, like the person, I don't. Sometimes these guys retire, and I'm like, dude, please just stop. What's going on here, man? Like, there's no need for you to be this flamboyant with a lot of this stuff. All right, that's the simplest way I would put it. All right. So anyway, we know he says weird things, but that's not the point, because he's right. He was offended by these comments from Patrick Beverly. He was offended that it was Patrick Beverly making them, when he should really be more offended that he mentioned him with James Harden. I don't think he was really as offended as he should have been. A shout out to Mark Clivion Black for coming through. So for me, as a basketball fan, a fan that knows the game, who knows Dwayne Wade's career, James Harden ain't close to Dwayne Wade. All right. Now, what Patrick Beverly is saying here is absolutely insane to me, because I told you, I do not believe that James Harden is as great or anywhere close to as being as great as they're making him and promoting him to be. He talks about the scoring ability, again, of James Harden. He mentions James Harden's, dynamic ability to score points and, all the things that he's saying he does. And as Patrick Beverly's saying this, and you realize he's not saying anything. And I'm like, yo, he didn't even say anything. He's giving you a feeling here, because his feeling is not accurate or accurately describing James Harden's career. He didn't mention all the playoff choking that he did, right? He talked about Dwayne Wade being a clutch player, but they didn't talk about James Harden not being clutch, right? I don't get it. Like, he just talked and glossed over all of this stuff, never mentioned it. Again, we mentioned earlier, Isaiah Thomas never mentioning defense for Kevin Durant versus Michael Jordan, right? Wait, meanwhile, same scenario here. Dwayne Wade's a much superior defensive player than James Harden ever was. Dwayne Wade in his last season was better on defense than James Harden would ever be. All right? And you never mentioned the defensive side of the ball for Dwayne Wade, when Patrick Beverly was supposed to be known for being a defensive guy. So you would think he would appreciate and value defense more, but he's letting his personal feelings, right? He's letting an opinion make him make stupid statements that don't make any sense. When you hear him try to break this down, dude, this is craziness. All right. So, when you talk about James Harden versus Dwayne Wade, to me, there's not even a close argument. To me, Dwayne Wade's a top 5 shooting guard in the history of the game. James Harden's not. He's just not, guys. And I've done lists, and we talked about some of the great shooting guards in NBA's history, guys, right? And these comments from Patrick Beverly, it lets me know that you don't know the NBA's history, right? And you don't know Dwayne Wade's place in that history and what Dwayne Wade apparently accomplished. Apparently, he doesn't know Dwayne Wade's resume, and he never watched this guy. I mean, dude, didn't you guys play in the same time frame? I mean, like, my God. How could you not know who Dwayne Wade was? The basketball player. He was fantastic. He was sensational. Sensational, Dwayne Wade, man. I mean, there's a reason why LeBron James joined him. He didn't join James Harden, right? He didn't join none of these other guys, right? I mean, like, come on, man. Like, James Harden went and joined dudes. Ain't no one joining James Harden. The only person that joined James Harden was Russell Westbrook on Houston and Chris Paul. Come on, man. Insane stuff out here, man. He's over there joining everybody. He's joining Kevin Durant in Brooklyn, right? He's joining Kyrie Irving. He joined the Sixers, right? I mean, he's joining everybody. Man, he joined the Clippers with Kawhi Leonard, and he's always joining people. James Harden. Dwayne Wade and LeBron James joined him because he was a proven winner, and he was a leader. I mean, like I said, to me, this is so dumb. These are the dumbest things ever. How the hell are we having these conversations? This is not a debate. There's nothing you go. Where's the impact for James Harden versus Dwayne Wade? Where's the impact? Once again, where's the two-way play? You want to tell me about scoring? James Harden is only a scorer because he flops and flails all over the damn court. He's traveling all over the damn court. I mean, are you kidding me? Dwayne Wade was a greater athlete. He was a greater finisher at the rim, above or below. I don't give a damn. Give me Dwayne Wade any day. My goodness. My goodness, man. I don't understand what we're doing in the history of the game. All right, I told you guys. You got Michael Jordan, right? We all recognize Michael Jordan's the greatest shooting guard, right? We all recognize Kobe Bryant, right, with Michael Jordan right there at the shooting guard position. But I've told you guys, I got someone like Jerry West in there, right? And then I would have probably Dwayne Wade, man. I told you there's no way in hell James Harden to me is better than any of them guys, man. There's just no way. And I told you after Dwayne Wade, I'd probably put Clyde Drexler, all right? That's just me, though, man. That's just me. But I told you guys, I'm not putting James Harden above any of them guys. I'm not putting James Harden above Reggie Miller. I'm not putting James Harden above Ray Allen. I'm not putting James Harden above George Gervin. I'm not putting him above these guys, man. So I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn what anybody say. You want to tell me James Harden better than Dwayne Wade now? All of a sudden, James Harden's arguably a top 3 shooting guard in NBA's history? No, he's not. Y'all trying to promote him that way. He's not that dude. Absolutely, I'm not putting him above Allen Iverson as shooting guard. The hell out of here, man. Give me any one of them dudes over James Harden, man. Any one of those guys. All right, Reggie Miller led his team to an NBA Finals. Clyde Drexler led his team to 2 NBA Finals. Allen Iverson led his team to an NBA Finals. I'm going to talk about Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. I said that it's insane to even mention James Harden with them dudes, man. Insane. Jerry West, I'm not putting him in that category. And Dwayne Wade, you're nowhere near that category of player. You're not even in that realm. Nowhere near that realm. You're a guy who choked it up many times, folded up many times, never gave the effort like that. You never played defense like that. Never cared to play defense like that. You were never a leader like Dwayne Wade or any of those other guys I mentioned. Like I said, man, we laugh at Reggie Miller now, and I love to laugh at Reggie Miller now because Reggie Miller's another guy that we know has lost all respect as far as his broadcasting, the things he says in the booth. But Reggie Miller, the basketball player, I told you the guy was a legit competitor, man. A legit competitor. Played for the Indiana Pacers all those years. He didn't play with no big-time great players, and he was folding it up, right? No, Reggie Miller was there all them years, and he was battling against all the other great players of his era. So, yeah, he don't have all the flashy accolades and the flashy stats, because he played in a great era. It's hard to crack an all-NBA team in the 90s at the guard position, man. It's hard to crack an all-defensive team in the 90s at the guard position, man. Like, what do you think this is? This is not the 2010s when you clowns out there like DeMar DeRozan and Devin Booker out here and Bradley Beal. This your competition for the shooting guard position? The hell out of here, man. This is nonsense, man. You are not on the level of Dwayne Wade. You are not on the level of Dwayne Wade. But now they tell you James Harden is the greatest shooting guard, right, of the 2010s. Not Dwayne Wade. It's James Harden. Why? Because of some of the numbers he put up on the back end of that weak-ass era when it was all weak and all decrepit, and he's traveling and carrying all over the place. Dwayne Wade was doing damage in a time frame that was much different than what James Harden was actually playing in. But now they're going to tell you that the 2010s belong to James Harden, shooting guard position. We all know that Kobe Bryant's looked at as the greatest guard, the shooting guard of the 2000s. So where's that leave Dwayne Wade? Where's that leave Dwayne Wade in this? Well, it happens to leave Dwayne Wade above James Harden, that's for damn sure, of the 2010s. So again, if I'm pointing to one guard shooting guard of the 2010s, then you give me Dwayne Wade, man. Now, granted, Dwayne Wade wasn't great throughout the entire 2010s, right? Because that was kind of the downfall of his career, was the injuries, right? And the attrition for Dwayne Wade. But the man made more of his career with the injuries than James Harden ever did. And again, we all recognize Dwayne Wade as a part of that super team Miami Heat. But again, LeBron James joined him. He joined him. And we all know Dwayne Wade's a weird-ass dude. So again, this was going to take away from Dwayne Wade's overall greatness, the fact that you let LeBron James come to your team and you do this. It's a similar thing for Steph Curry. We talked about with the Kevin Durant stuff. You're going to take some flack and heat historically for this. But again, they got joined by them dudes. And remember, what's LeBron James done without Dwayne Wade? He does what? He has to do more super teams. It wasn't like LeBron James left Miami and went and did his own thing someplace and established his own self. Nope. He did the same thing everywhere else. Everywhere else. Where's Kevin Durant done outside of this stuff? Nothing. But now these guys are going to be celebrated as the winners. They're going to be celebrated as these great, great players up there with these other dudes, man. The hell out of here. James Harden. Where's his impact? Where's the impact for James Harden at? Come on, man. That's right. He helped LeBron James. Remember, he's the one that had to watch video. Shout out to my man Rockin' Jock. He said, I would have hired him to teach my kid how to shoot a free throw. And that's all he does is shoot free throws. The guy was leading the league in three-point attempts and free throw attempts. 3 consecutive seasons, I believe. That's laughable stuff, man. But they want to talk about scoring prowess. Again, how was he scoring? It wasn't scoring impressively. Dwayne Wade, to me, was impressive. When I watched Dwayne Wade's game, Dwayne's game was flashy, man. AKA The Flash. But Dwayne Wade, the things that he could do on the court on both sides of the ball, like I said, the excitement that he played with, he was always doing something exciting. James Harden's exciting to me. I never watched James Harden, even when he was winning an MVP, right? And he was scoring all these points. I never looked at his game, and I was like, yo, it's actually exciting to watch James Harden do all this nonsense through the legs, 5-step back chucks, and then flail his legs out for 3 free throws. You know, drive in the lane, hook around somebody, and then throw his head back. That wasn't Dwayne Wade's game. That was not Dwayne Wade's game, man. So again, this is actually an insult to Dwayne Wade, so I understand why he was very offended. He should be offended. He said he looked at it the wrong way. He looked at it like, yo, me and James Harden are both great. You know what I'm saying? Don't over here and talk to me because you ain't great. You should have been like, yo, James Harden ain't on my level. Who said James Harden was better than me? He said, nah, he ain't better than I was because we're all great. We're both great. Dude, he ain't better than you because he's not better than you. Are you kidding me? And you make it about a top 75 thing. Come on, Dwayne Wade. It's insane. But you told us that LeBron James is the greatest you ever seen, but Michael Jordan is the greatest you ever watched. I mean, I still don't know what he said and what that means. But now you're over here talking about we all in the top 75. Don't matter if you're all in the top 75. That does not make you guys. James Harden ain't close to Michael Jordan. James Harden ain't close to Will Chamberlain or Bill Russell or Oscar Robertson or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. James Harden is nowhere close to them guys. Nowhere. He's nowhere close to Larry Bird or Magic Johnson or Kobe. He ain't close to Jerry West, man. He's not close to Dr. J. He's not close to Shaq. He's not close to Tim Duncan or Hakeem Olajuwon. He's not close to any. I don't give a damn what number he thinks he is in the top 75. You're not close to those guys. There's levels. We always say that. There's always going to be levels in life. Even tax brackets. There's levels for taxes, man. Everything. I told you, even a video game, there's levels, right? Levels. It's hard. It's easy. It's normal. It's very easy. There's different levels to this stuff in life, man. Right? And we all on different levels in life in certain things. That's just the way it goes, right? I ain't got money like a lot of people got money. There are people that are living on a different level than I am. Does that make them better than me? No. But there are levels in life. So we can be upset because somebody's up there for whatever the reason. Some people don't deserve to be up there, but they're up there. But why am I going to be upset about that? I have my own problems to worry about. So again, in life, there's levels. I told you guys about fitness and health. I'm on a different level, fitness and health-wise, than a lot of people, especially my age. Does that make me better than you? No. It don't make me better than them, but I'm on a different level in that regard. There's an area of my life, an area of life that there are different levels at, man. Some of us can't even bend over. Some of us can't get up out of a damn chair, right? Some of us have difficulties walking or running or jumping or playing sports for whatever the reasons are. But there are levels to this. So the level that you can move, the level of things that you can do, they're for me, right? I have the ability to do certain things. We all have different abilities. So it's levels and everything. Don't make it right. Don't make it fair. That's life, man. But don't let that bother you or be upset about these things. That's just the way it's always going to be, right? So again, we make the most of what we have and we appreciate what we do have because at every level in life, there's always something underneath that. There's always a level underneath you. So again, be thankful that you're not on the next level under. Be thankful for that because that's the only place you can go. All right, a lot of times in life, man, you ain't going to up on the level. You could surely easily go down though. You know what I'm saying? You ain't winning the lotto. You guys understand this, man. So again, oh goodness gracious, I think we're gonna end it on that, man. I don't want to go too long today, man. I got some things to do on a Sunday morning. I know I rambled on here a little bit, guys. Let me read some of the supers that you guys came with. I'm sorry if I forgot to read off your super. Harden had the luxury of being able to travel. Exactly. Shout out to my man Armando Ruiz. Thank you very much for coming through again, man. You run the money with that. Absolutely. I mean, these are the facts. Harden has all the advantages, all the luxuries over those years, right, to get those points and stats and build up some accolades that maybe Dwayne Wade doesn't have. But the overall totality of the impact and what Dwayne Wade actually could do, his actual game, James Harden can't touch Dwayne Wade's game on the court. He can't touch it, guys. Not in my opinion. And I'm giving you what I saw them do, and I'm breaking it down. I told you guys that, to me, that if you want to tell me that James Harden had a better dribble than Dwayne Wade, I'm going to say to you, only because of the traveling and carrying, Dwayne Wade could dribble the basketball. And Dwayne Wade was, I told you, was hella quick, a greater athlete by far. And I told you, to me, he was more effective tagging the rim, finishing at the rim, above or below. And give me Dwayne Wade in clutch time scenarios. If you want to tell me James Harden was a better three-point shooter, okay, great. James Harden was an excellent free throw shooter. No doubt about it. But again, that's where it begins and ends. And that's not going to win you a championship. It's not. The leadership, all the intangibles, everything points to Dwayne Wade, guys. Everything. So these are the facts. You guys know that. And that's what we're going to continue to remember out here. So you're around the money with that. Armando Ruiz. Shout out to my man, Praise the Don. Wade's a queer, but he's still the third-grade shooting guard. Again, right. We're keeping it real. It's about the game for Dwayne Wade. We all know that Dwayne Wade's out there, painting his nails and, he's wearing makeup and stuff. And I feel like Dwayne Wade gets injections in his face, man. Like, how people do this to keep themselves young looking. I feel like he would do that. But yeah, we all know that these guys are out, I said it just, I don't know, man. I say these dudes, I wouldn't do that. I said, my dad would never do this stuff, man. All right. Again, so I told you, man, I was raised by a grown-ass man. All right. So I only have a perspective of a grown-ass man. I don't have a perspective, I'm giving you the perspective that I got and what I'm supposed to be doing as a grown-ass man. So again, shout out to LH Fitness for coming through. KG said D Wade made LeBron a more confident player. Absolutely. When you think about the sacrifices that Dwayne Wade made for LeBron James, it's the same thing and tantamount to what Michael Jordan did for Scottie Pippen, right? I mean, Michael Jordan sacrificed for Pippen, right? He understood what he needed to do, how to push Pippen the right way, and what he needed to do on the court allowed Pippen to be the point forward, let him be successful at that role by always putting him in the right position, but also always praising Scottie Pippen, always shielding him from the blame and the accountability, right? Being a true leader for him, a big brother. So Pippen could always feel that role. And once he'd grow into that, that's how you help your teammate. And that's what Dwayne Wade did for LeBron James when he got to the Miami Heat and he couldn't, quote unquote, figure it out. Like Michael Jordan told Kobe, right? Dwayne Wade had to figure it out and figure out how to help LeBron James be successful. The same way Michael Jordan had to figure out how to get Scottie Pippen on that level to help them all be successful to that degree. So again, shout out to you guys. Like I said, it means a lot for you guys to come through all the time. The cool guy. Yeah, I mean, listen, what I tell you guys, man, like with women, right? And I want to go into get crazy here with talking about the women that you associate yourself with. And I don't know Gabrielle Union personally. I've seen her movies, obviously. Don't know her personally, right? She's an attractive woman, right? We get all this kind of stuff, man, right? There's a lot of attractive women out there. But there's not a lot of quality women out there, guys, all right? So again, when you talk about finding a woman, I tell you guys all the time, I'm fortunate. So a lot of us are going to be fortunate. Some of us are not going to be fortunate. But the ultimate responsibility falls on us. So again, to have a kind of woman that respects you or would, I'm gonna tell you, I say like this. I say like this. If I came home, or if my wife came home one day and my nails were painted, there's going to be a serious conversation being had, all right? Because I might be on the verge of divorce, all right? Because it's gonna be awkward, it's gonna be weird, it's gonna be, what the hell's going on here, all right? Some of these things that these guys do, some of the stuff that they wear. If I ever came out one day like wearing some of this stuff, and with my family, my wife, like I said, I'm in trouble, guys. I'll probably be on the verge of getting divorced or something like that, man. It's going to be a serious conversation here. There's going to be something different because this is not what I do, and it's not what my wife expects from a man. I just don't see it. So again, it doesn't make any sense, man. You got to be careful with some of this stuff. Like I said, and women should always appreciate men. I'm talking about a man. A woman should always appreciate a man, and a man being a man and doing man stuff. Now, again, I'm not here to be the marriage counselor or any of this kind of stuff. I'm just telling you the facts here. A real woman respects and appreciates having a real man around. All right. So my wife expects me to be a man. All right. And to carry myself a certain way, because again, I'm supposed to be living up to the standard that my wife's father set for her as a man. And my father-in-law is one of them kinds of dudes. So again, I have a standard to live up to in that regard. And I'm a man. So again, this is what it's about. So I said, man, A man appreciates a real woman, and a real woman appreciates a man being a man, okay? And sometimes a woman understands her place, you know what I'm saying, next to a real grown man that earns that. Again, a woman is going to give you that respect and understand her place if you earned it, if you're worth that. All right, some of these women, these dudes be with, man. It's crazy out there, man. I don't get this stuff. Like you have to sometimes, like I said, you have to understand and differentiate that you're a couple and you guys are an entity here, but there also needs to be, once again, boundaries, and there has to be certain things that are understood, right, that are never going to be wavered from. There's never going to be any misunderstanding between me and my wife in these kinds of things, between a man and a woman. That's never going to be a misunderstanding there. And again, and there's never going to be a way that me ever disrespecting my wife, because again, I'm going to always treat my man or my wife the way that a man should treat his woman, right? I mean, so again, shout out to you guys, man. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. These comments are crazy, right? I mean, there were some other things that we'll talk about during this week. I might do another live. I'm trying to get with AOH this week to do another live. Maybe like a Wednesday rant, maybe a Wednesday morning or a Wednesday afternoon rant. We'll try to do because I'm off of work this week, so I'm definitely going to try to do. If I can't get up with AOH or somebody, I'll definitely do a couple more lives this week. And like I said, man, I have a great time talking with you guys, man. And like I said, having these conversations, it makes you. Yeah, I know you guys know the deal, man. Yeah, yo, Michael. Yo, I'm telling you, man, it's the facts, guys. These are the facts, man. And like I said, it's not going to happen, guys. It's not. I'll tell you, if I ever did something like that, then I'm telling you right now, I'll be single, man. I just, like I said, that. And again, I told you, I got kids and stuff, man. So again, I gotta, I have a standard that I hold myself to, that I hold my kids to. Right. So again, oh my goodness, man. Like I said, you guys make me laugh, man. Oh, goodness gracious, man. Once again, shout out to you guys, man. Yeah, right. Yo, I'm telling you, man. Yo, Dana Green knows the deal. I'm telling you, there's certain things you couldn't do, man. I said you just, like I said, man. And when we talk about, I said the upbringings and, we talk about words and, getting made fun of. We laugh at some of this stuff, guys. I tell you, I remember, going be on the bus, as a young kid, and we would make fun of each other's moms, and we'd make jokes, and you didn't even always know if someone's mom was dead, or if someone didn't have a mom at home or a father at home. You didn't always know this stuff, and you would be making jokes about people's moms, and you would be making jokes about someone, and we did this all the time, and that was part of why the Sticks and Stones moniker became like a slogan of sorts, during that time, because kids did this stuff, and it was just part of growing up. Right. And yeah, some kids got it worse than others, but it was all like jokes. I remember when dissing became like a really big thing, the Yo Mama jokes, and, Def Comedy Jam was really big, right, in the 90s. And, you would make fun of each other all the time. And, best friends sometimes would get into heated arguments. And, like I said, because you're cranking on somebody and you said something, you crossed the line maybe. I remember getting into arguments with some of my friends sometimes because, maybe someone said something that, crossed the line. But like I said, it was just different because when you combine those kinds of things with the physical nature of life back then as a child, I tell you, a lot of us people were climbing trees. You were climbing over fences. I mean, you could climb a fence. That's why I say, if you think about things that we used to do as kids, that we stopped doing. Like, when was the last time you climbed over a fence? I hopped over a fence just to do it. Like, I remember one time I went to one of my daughter's soccer games some years ago, right? Maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, whatever it was. She was in the junior high, so it was maybe a couple years ago. And we're going to the game. I'm there with my wife and my son. And we're going to the game. It's getting ready to start. And we're coming up to a fence, right? Ain't nothing crazy. It was like a 6-foot fence or, regular, chain link fence. But there was obviously an entrance to walk in through the fence. All the families are coming there. Everyone's walking in through the proper way to walk through the fence. All the families, guys. All the kids, the husbands, the wife, all the fathers and mothers, the grandparents, everyone's coming to the field, everyone's coming to the game. They're all walking through the gate, right? Everyone's walking the right way. What does Robin do? What do I decide to do? Which my wife knows I'm going to do because she can sense it because now I'm veering off away from where everyone else is funneling in to the gate entrance. So she goes, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm going to jump the fence." I was like, I'm going to just jump it. And she goes, "Why?" And I said, "Just because. Just because." Just because, man. I can't tell you, babe. I have an urge to go over there and jump that fence. I don't know what it is, guys. You could call me weird. You could say I'm crazy, and I know I've got a lot of energy and I'm hyped up. But these are the things that I'm telling you guys about. Like, for me in life, I'm just like, I see some of these kinds of things and I say, why not? Like, why not? You know, like, again, I'm not a parkour, expert. I'm not. But sometimes I see these kinds of things out and this is what I do. So what happens? I go and I jump over the fence, right? I just hop over it like it's no big deal. But what does that do? All of a sudden now, other kids see me do this. So now there's like 10-year-olds and other kids, my son, like now everybody wants to try to jump and climb over the fence now. So in that moment, I inspired other children. I inspired other people to think and see something in a different way, right? Like, so again, when my wife will come home from the supermarket, let's say, right? And she'll always let me know, she'll text me, I'm on my way. So I know she'll be home soon to be prepared that she's going to be home. Because what is one of my responsibilities as a man? I got to carry the groceries in when she gets home, right? That's one of the things that men do. I'm not saying that my wife can't do because she's a woman. She can't do it. She's a woman. She can't do. No. Why should she have to do some of these things, right? This is why I'm here. If I'm there, if I'm available, then this is what I do anyway. I often make it a game, right? There's a bunch of bags in there, right? So what I try to do, and we've all done this, we try to carry bags as many as we can. We try to carry as many bags as I can in each arm, right? It's not crazy. I don't want to break the eggs or none. Right? But you get the bags in there and you make a game of it. You make it a farmer's walk, right? You make it a quote-unquote workout. Yeah, you make it a game. This is what I do a lot of times in life. Right, I remember, I walk through the hallways sometimes, running up and down the stairs, right? Some of the kids in the school will look at me sometimes because I'll run the stairs, then I'll go back down the stairs, and I'll run back up again. And they look at me like, ooh, and then they realize I have ankle weights on. But here I am, and this is what I'm doing. So oftentimes I do this stuff, like I said, I'm walking around somewhere. My wife knows I'm going to do something. She sees I'm going to climb something or I'm going to go jump over something. Or I'm just going to do something that she's like, why? Like, what are you, 12? Like, why? I'm 45 and I'm still doing this stuff, guys. And again, this is not a brag or, oh yeah, I'm just telling you, when I see some of this is how I see it. That's what I see. And that's how a lot of us view stuff. That's how we grew up. We grew up climbing on everything. You know who does that now, guys? My son does that. He does it a lot. He's 8. He climbs on everything. He looks at things as obstacles. Where do you think he got that from, guys? Got that from dad, man. Get it from dad, man. Right? So again, you guys know the deal, man. These are the facts out here again, man. I really appreciate, man. Oh, man. Yo, let them skins, man. I appreciate it. Like I said, a lot of us grew up the same. That's why when I tell you guys, that's why you guys enjoy my stories, man. Not because, my stories are so great. I mean, some of my stories are good. I won't lie. Some of them good. But because a lot of this reminds you of a story you had in your life or how you grew up or the experience that you had, right? Because I said this is similar stuff for us. This is life. I'm not lying about it. I'm not making this stuff up. You guys know the same thing. I'm telling you. You guys were on the monkey bars. You guys were there on the swings. You guys were on the seesaws. You guys were playing dodgeball. We were doing this stuff. You guys know the facts, man. So again, man, I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday. I hope you guys had a great weekend. You guys stand by for a couple of lives this week, man. Like I said, man, it's really a great time with you guys here, man. Like I said, Brother Jummer, thank you very much for coming through again. Rocket 6616. I'm the same way, Robin, inspiring people at 63. Yo, shout out to you for coming through, leaving that comment and doing your thing at 63 years old. Like I said, shout out to everybody out there that's older than me. Yes, I'm 45. I don't believe I'm old, right, guys? So I tell you, I'm not old. I know my dad's old, man. So shout out to all you guys that are out there doing this for longer than I've been doing it. Like I said, and inspiring and continue to keep doing this stuff. We got to tell you guys what, it's movement. Movement is the key when it comes to our life. And we're all different athleticisms and sizes and shapes. You just want to keep moving. Because as we get older, that's the hardest part, is to be able to keep moving. But if we don't keep moving, then we're not going to keep moving. Oh, man. Again, you guys have a good rest of your Sunday, man. I hope you guys really, have a good weekend or had a great weekend. And I'll catch you guys on the next one, man.